All right, so here we are, the 22nd of August, the 15th annual BRICS summit getting underway. Formally, the program starts this afternoon, but the build-up has been continuing for the past few days down at the Sandton Convention Centre. Several heads of state attending this three-day summit. It's meant to end, and I'm sure it will, this coming Thursday. Expansion is the key word. It's going to be one of the most spoken about topics at this year's summit. Rafiwa Matsena, live at the Convention Centre for us this morning. You're going to be there most of today, so program proper only getting underway a little bit later this afternoon, Rapiwa. But there's a lot of talk around expansion, yes, as I mentioned, but really what it comes down to is how do we as a country begin to benefit from now being part of BRICS in and amongst this expansion talk?
That's absolutely correct, Gareth, and a very good morning to you. A trade deficit that currently exists, many imbalances between the BRICS countries. So collectively, we've got about 1.4 trillion US dollars, which amounts to about 26 trillion rand in trade between this trading bloc. But unfortunately, South Africa is not benefiting as much as the others. China is the biggest trading partner, and South Africa and China trade here amounts to about 68%. And then one of the lowest is then Russia, which is at around 2%. So lots of trade imbalances that have to be addressed here, Gareth, today, or the 3 days rather. And hopefully there will be some form of a resolution when it comes to a way forward when it comes to economic growth for South Africa contributed by the BRICS bloc. But we've got Professor Bonke Dumisa, who is an economic analyst, joining us this morning to discuss this very anomaly. A very good morning to you, Prof, and thank you for joining us this morning. Now, many people will think that there are huge economic benefits that are currently being enjoyed by South Africa from being a part of this trading bloc. And in fact, that is not currently the case, in that I just explained the trade deficit that kind of exists. How do we then start to unlock the opportunity for South Africa to see a tangible, real economic growth from this trading bloc?
This is a very good starting point, Rafiwa, and thank you for inviting me from Magaliesburg. The trade deficit between South Africa and the three other countries is really, in fact, 4 other countries, is very significant. We do not have any trade advantage over any one of them, and that must be our intention to try and reduce that thing. And that's why you saw so many gatherings in South Africa from everything from small businesses to township businesses, etc., coming together to say, what can we do to be part of BRICS and how can we benefit from that? My problem is that there's very little that we can do in order to improve that, because China, for example, China is really eyeing mostly our minerals, our mining products. And China has taken over many mines in Zimbabwe. So until we change that mindset to say South Africa is not here just to provide the mineral products, but it is going to be here to sell other many beneficiated products to these other countries, then we'll continue having this problem, because it does not just end there. We've had some people who were arrested recently for trying to smuggle some stolen copper to China. Yes, we can get China to put a stop to those things, but are we really having a compatible friendship and economic collection of people collaborating to develop each and every one of these 5 different parts of BRICS? And my answer to that is currently not. But let us hope over the next 3 days those things will be addressed. But the inclusion of many other countries, I don't think it is going to improve our standing in BRICS in any way, because already, as we are struggling with the 4 other countries, then when you add many other countries, including Saudi Arabia, who is giving us trouble when it comes to international Brent crude oil prices, then what are we really going to get out of this? BRICS is very good. Let us try and make the best out of it, but let us not get our hopes very high.
And that's an interesting point that you raised, Prof, the entrance of about 20-odd countries that have officially applied to become a part of this trading bloc. One of the concerns that's been raised, though, is the jeopardizing of South Africa's relationship with the United States because of the perceived friendliness with Russia. And currently, South Africa has about a 2% trade with Russia, as opposed to what we have with the United States, including the AGOA deal. How does South Africa then strike a balance so that we don't lose the benefits of the trading that we have under the AGOA deal, as opposed to fortifying our position in BRICS and the relationship with the BRICS member states?
Can I remind you that when South Africa, when about 5 African heads of state went to Russia and Ukraine to push for peace, the Indian Prime Minister was in the United States to strengthen their ties with the United States economically. So that tells you then that if ever we simply say we are going to compromise on our relationship with the United States in favor of BRICS, then that will not be, and that is definitely not what South Africa is trying to do. All what South Africa is saying is, we are a sovereign state. Give us the sovereignty to choose who we deal with, on what, for what reason. But we must always keep our minds clear that we need America more than we need Russia. But America cannot dictate to us who our friends are. So let us make good of BRICS, but let us remember that AGOA is more important to us. And that's why we've had some South African politicians and top cabinet ministers in the US to talk about this BRICS, about this AGOA issue. And I don't think that we are going to be pushed out of AGOA. There's too much at stake. America needs us when it comes to AGOA, in as far as we also need them a lot. I don't think we'll be pushed out, but it is just one of those bullying tactics that will push you out of AGOA. Let us not really be so negative about it.
Yeah, and then finally, and very briefly, if you will, Prof, this BRICS currency that's been bandied about over the last few months, it is expected that talks will be a lot more intense when it comes to the creation of this currency and the reduction of the reliance on the US dollar. Your thoughts on this currency's potential, should it be introduced to the global market?
I think that has been really more on an emotional level than anything else. Yes, people are unhappy about the weaponization of the US dollar, but you cannot really have a stable BRICS currency. I mean, we're talking about countries which are so geographically spread, and for you to have a very good currency, you need a very strong economic base and a good political base. We don't have a good economic base as BRICS. We do not have a good political base as BRICS. So it is just one of those things when people are venting out their anger against the weaponization of the US dollar. But we do need some alternatives to the dominance of the US dollar as the safe currency of the world.
Thank you very much for joining us this morning. That's Professor Bonke Jimisa highlighting the importance of BRICS, but also South Africa's relationship with other states, including the United States. And of course, as he mentions there, you do need a strong economic base, Gareth, to establish a BRICS currency. That currently is not the case. We are seeing China's economy slowing down at the most in the 3 years since the pandemic. And of course, as the biggest trading partner within the bloc, that of course has raised the eyebrows of economists, analysts, and of course market participants who are, or rather were banking on the growth of China to be the driver of the dominance of an alternative to the global West.
Yeah, I'm glad you used the phrase banking as well, because there's also talk of how the BRICS bank could grow, this currency as well. How is that currency going to be strengthened or weakened, diluted, expanded, whichever way you want to look at it, if you were to bring more members into BRICS? That's why this expansion is such an important talking point for what is the 15th BRICS summit.